the Startup Spotlight series hosted by Mug.News. In this show, we highlight startups throughout Middle America who are supporting their community through diversity, innovation, and creativity. I am your host, Caitlin Clays, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Spotlight. Welcome to the Startup Spotlight series, where we highlight impressive startups throughout the Midwest. Here with me today is Meghan Staszak, the co-owner of Hangout MKE Cafe and Lounge Co., a woman and LGBTQ-owned safe space for people of all ages to hang out. Meghan, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So jumping right into my first question is, could you tell me more about Hangout MKE?
Yeah, so Hangout MKE is basically... it's really meant to be a space where anybody of all ages can come and hang out and have a good time, play games, listen to live music, do artistic events. Milwaukee is such a beer-centric town. It doesn't matter if you want to go to the bar or not. That's really your only option. And so we wanted to create a space where that's not the focus. Sure, we have alcohol, but on a busy Saturday night, 90% of our customers aren't drinking alcohol. And so it's something unique, it's something that I wish we would have had when I was in college and in high school, but it didn't exist, and now it does.
Right. Do you have any event groups that happen? So like teenage groups versus like adult groups, anything like that?
Before the pandemic, we did those types of things. Nowadays, it's hard to get people to come back out still. So it's really just random groups that just decide to come with their friends. And sometimes it's high school age, sometimes it's college age, and sometimes it's, we have a group of women who's about 7 years old. They come in every week and play cards. Just depends.
Fun. Now, are you at full capacity?
We have been at full capacity, but it's just slow to get people to come back out again and want to socialize. Got
it. So when were you founded?
So we came up with the idea in early 2018. It took a really long time to get things moving with getting a loan, getting a lease, things like that. And then we didn't actually open our doors until August of 2019. So it took a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. What gave you the idea for your business?
Similar to what I said before is there's really not many places in the city where, you can hang out, have a good time, and it's not this kind of feeling that you have to drink alcohol or have to buy alcohol. And that's twofold, right? That's the people that aren't of age yet to drink. So that could be a high school crowd, that could be a younger college crowd. And then the second piece of it, and this is kind of where I fit in, is I am of age, but I really don't like the bar scene. It's just not fun to me. At least in Milwaukee, you go out on a busy Friday or Saturday night and, it's just not a pleasant environment. And so we wanted to have something that was just a little bit more, all ages friendly, not acting drunk all the time, that type of thing.
Right. So then you've gotten started. You have an amazing mission statement, and that I think is just fantastic, especially with the bar scene being so popular. It's incredible to have a different options to do on a Saturday night, like you said. So I have a question is, what are your goals? Whether this be for your company, what are your company goals, or what are your goals for the people you're inviting in?
We opened 2 years ago, actually. Our anniversary party is this coming weekend. And COVID has really altered things for us. Since this is business related, one of your first goals as a new business is to break even, right? That is a huge accomplishment. And we were very, very close to breaking even before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, right? And our whole premise for our business is socialization, going out, having a good time, people of all ages. And so here we're 2 years into being open and we've never broken even. And that's a really hard thing to swallow. So goal number one is just so simplistic. I just want to break even. I want to be able to pay our bills every month and not worry about what the next month or next few months has in store. So that's really simplistic. The second, I think, goal for the business, this is more of a personal goal, I guess, not really a business goal, is to not just break even, but be able to allow us to sustain ourselves. I still work another job. I still work in my original career, and it's extremely stressful and hard. And so I would ideally move out of that role and more into a full-time capacity with the cafe. And then third, if things go as planned, that will actually free up some time for both of us to really truly work on expanding the business. I would really love to take this concept to other cities across the state and across the country. It's just that we are definitely not there yet. We have to hit goals 1 and 2 first.
So when you were getting on your feet, and then also now, is the Milwaukee ecosystem for entrepreneurs, do you have resources to help you get on your feet, essentially, whether that be grants or other people who are assisting you?
We do. There's some more formal types of things, and we started going down that path before we opened, and I just didn't feel like it was overly helpful. I actually found that the most helpful thing was to talk to other business owners in a similar, environment. And, you'd think that you're talking to competitors, but really you're not, right? We're all in the game together. We all work together. And so I found that that was actually the best thing to do. Same with our neighbors, right? We have neighbors that, they've been incredible, right? They don't see us as competitors, and we don't see them as competitors. We try to offer different things, and maybe we can get the customers to come into both places at the same time. Well, the same night. But that to me has actually been significantly more beneficial than any other, avenue for help.
I think that really breaks the stereotype. Even if in media, we always have so much of like this business versus that business, and some of them are comedies,
Yes.
some of them are serious. But I love to hear your perspective on that. I've talked to a couple other entrepreneurs, and they've said the exact same thing, where as a team, we raise each other up. So it's very cool to hear your perspective and your experience in that firsthand. So then, do you have any advice for people who are just beginning their business?
I would say number one is have patience. Our idea started around New Year's in 2018. It took us 10 months to solidify a loan. It took us 9 months to find a spot to lease that was appropriate. Construction took 8 months. The whole ordeal just takes a long time. And don't put yourself into a box. When you're going through the process, don't feel like it has to be this way and no other way. Things will change, and you have to roll with the punches. Item number 2 is you will hit snags, and don't give up. It's not if you hit a snag, it's you will hit snags, and you will hit a lot of them. And many of them will make you want to give up. But if you really do believe in yourself and you really want to do this, you have to keep going. Number 3, you will get people that you love telling you not to do this, and adamantly telling you not to do this, and you will get in fights with them. And things will be really difficult in that way. If you really believe in yourself and you really believe in your concept, you have to push forward, and you have to show them that you can do it. The irony is that now I look back at those people that were more naysayers, and they don't really say anything about you shouldn't have done that. They're just kind of saying, good job. Didn't expect that to go so well, but good job. And then the last thing is you have to have thick skin. It's funny, and I talk about this all the time with our employees, is that as soon as you become a business, you're not an individual person anymore. Your personal feelings, your emotions, they don't matter, right? When you look at a bad Google review of some bad experience that someone had, you take that personal, right? It's hard not to, but because you're labeled as a business, people don't see the individual people behind the business, right? And so you do have to have that thick skin. Everyone will judge you. It is not possible to make 100% of people happy. It's just not. And that's still a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but if you want to be successful, that's all you can do is try to please as many people as you can. And for those that you can't please, just work harder next time.
That is the first advice we've ever had on the show about having a thick skin regarding those Google reviews.
Yeah, it's hard. It can be really difficult at times.
I cannot imagine, but I think that that's really good advice for people who are doing, especially like service industry, with food and then working with people. But thank you for bringing that up. Like, that is something that we haven't talked about before. So then, kind of coming to the last couple of questions I have for you is, do you have any resources that you recommend about your community, whether that's any blogs or any other resources regarding how starting up your business?
That's a good question. I think number one, and it's not any particular people or resources, but if you're interested in starting a business, to talk to your neighbors. If there's a certain place that you like to frequent, maybe start a restaurant and there's a favorite restaurant that you have. Get to know the owners and the managers of that restaurant, just to learn more. I mean, many owners are willing to talk with you and to mentor people and help them through because, right, they wish they would have had someone doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Second thing is, and I hear this one a lot, is banks, right? If you want to get a loan, if you want to work with a bank, work with a small bank and work with a local bank, ideally a credit union. A lot of the larger banks, it's hard to work with them. It's hard to get approved for a loan. There's a lot of additional fees, things like that. The small banks just seem to help you a little bit more, and there's a little bit more of a personal touch. They ask you about your business. They care about your business. So I guess that's a weird one, but I think that's an important one. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think colleges are a pretty good source as well, especially, if there's a business school attached to a local college, you can gain some real good insight there. And I think that's probably all I have for good resources at the moment.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And then especially the reason we asked that question too is that people who are moving to the area looking how to get on their feet and where to start. So that's a great starting point for them. And my final question is, how can we support you? How can the listeners help out? Are interacting with social media? How can we help?
That's a really good question. We got that question a lot during the pandemic, is how can we help small businesses, right? And there's a lot of different ways. Obviously going to the small business, being a customer, but money only goes so far, right? And if people don't have money, obviously the pandemic's been hard on a lot of people right now. So if you don't have the money, there are still ways that you can help small businesses. One of those is through reviews, Google reviews, TripAdvisor, Yelp. There's tons of them, right? Facebook reviews. So that's one. Number two, maybe you've never been there at all, but what you can do is follow their Facebook page or go to their website. If you see something that looks really cool, show your friends, right? Because maybe your friends will come and visit the space. So those are just some things. I guess the last thing, and I kind of go back to the thick skin thing, is remember that behind every business, there are people, right? Not every business is in it for the money. Not every business is all about power, right? I mean, we're just normal people that just had a dream that we wanted to do something different with our lives. And I'm really, really thankful that we did it. I have absolutely no regrets. I just really hope that this continues to take off and I can do this full time. That's all. Mm-hmm. And I want people to understand that just because the business label is there doesn't mean that there are feelings and emotions and people behind the business. There are.
Mm-hmm. Well, Meghan, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate your time coming onto the show, and thank you again. We're happy to help.